Hello, Sage Creek. You're listening to SagePol, Sage Creek High School's premier political and current events podcast. I'm Nick Cepek, and today we're having Sage Creek senior Nicholas Tappin on again, and co-author of The American Exile, an era of American foreign policy. And thank you again, Nicholas, for joining me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
So the first question that I wanted to ask you, and this specifically about the United States' plan to withdraw from Afghanistan, is if you think it is realistic and if you think it is a good idea that Biden has proposed to leave Afghanistan completely by September 11th, 2021, of course, the 20th anniversary of 9/11.
Yeah. So first off, I think it is a realistic plan because originally Donald Trump mediated between the Afghan government and the Taliban for some sort of peace agreement of some sort. And the original agreement was to withdraw some troops, not even withdraw, just decrease the amount of American troop presence in Afghanistan by May, but then Biden is extending it. So whether or not he's getting cold feet about the plan or whether he just wants more time to actually have a more effective and more safe and cautious withdrawal from Afghanistan is to be known, but I do believe it is more realistic plan that right now we're combating COVID and he's trying to pass this infrastructure plan. So certainly I think foreign relations is taking a backseat to a lot of those domestic issues. But yeah, I think it's a realistic plan. So, and then second, I do agree with Biden's withdrawal from Afghanistan, or at least his intended plan to withdraw.
Right. Because we've seen before administrations make claims like this, that they're going to reduce troop levels and exit, and it hasn't really come to fruition. I think the hope is that with Biden's claim this time, we are going to see this through. Yeah,
exactly. But again, I will only believe it when I see it, because like you said, there were politicians in 2014, I believe Obama, a senior advisor of Obama's on Twitter in 2014 said, we're withdrawing from Afghanistan, period. And, clearly we're still involved. So that clearly wasn't a big focus of the Obama administration. So I'm definitely excited because you definitely see Senator Menendez from New Jersey that is against it. You have some Republican senators that are against it. So certainly if they are against it and haven't been necessarily vocal in the past, they may know information that we don't, and they definitely may feel that Biden is going to follow through with this withdrawal.
Right. And then my other question is about Afghanistan more specifically. How do you think this affects the stability in Afghanistan, the stability of the region? And do you think that the Afghan government is going to be capable of managing the Taliban and other insurgent groups that have been active in Afghanistan? And how do you think this affects regional stability in Central Asia?
I think it's going, well, at first, just to mention, like for the audience, there are about 2,500 American troops in Afghanistan right now, which was a slight decrease from Donald Trump. And then there are about 7,000 of our NATO allied troops in Afghanistan. So assuming that NATO withdrawals and the United States withdrawals, I think it's going to stabilize the region. Of course, the Afghan government is still fighting against insurgent groups. That's assuming that the insurgent groups won't lay down their arms and at least come to some sort of a peace agreement, because Biden already made it clear that he wants to establish a peace agreement between the Afghan government and the Taliban. I don't really think the Afghan government is going to necessarily collapse one way or another, because clearly we've been involved. We've been supplying troops and ammunition and arms to the Afghan government for over 20 years, actually 20 years, assuming we pull out by September 2021, 20 years, and about 2 generations of soldiers have gone off to fight there. And I don't think clearly military back into the Afghan government is going to change anything remotely, because a Biden spokesperson literally said and clearly said that there isn't a military solution to this. So I don't think it's going to necessarily change the dynamic too much of the situation.
Right. And do you think that at the end of this, say that the withdrawal is successful on September 11th, 2021, all troops have left Afghanistan. Do you think that the Biden administration will make any effort to consider this a success? Or how do you think that they'll try to handle publicly what they say about the Afghan war after this? Are they going to try to label this a peaceful withdrawal, or are they going to try to claim victory over the Taliban and other groups that they went into Afghanistan originally to fight?
Well, in the past, simply claiming victory and withdrawing was a plan, but clearly never worked. I think Biden's just going to withdraw. I just think he wants to get this over with, and I think if he does withdraw, it's going to be a very positive mark on his presidency in the future, because the majority of Americans want withdrawal, and also Biden's campaign slogan is "Build Back Better." So that's a lot of funds, billions of dollars going into a foreign war that we've been involved for 20 years. Clearly hasn't came to fruition, or any clear results haven't come to fruition. So I think he's just going to withdraw and call it a day, and know that the achievement of simply pulling out of one of the longest wars in American history is going to simply be a positive mark on his presidency. I don't think he needs to claim victory.
Right. I have to agree with you there. And then my last question is, how do you think that Biden's foreign policy so far, which, like you said, has taken a backseat to some of the other more pressing issues, how do you think it will be remembered in comparison to Trump's? Because Trump obviously had a bit of a more isolationist foreign policy, and he was a lot more belligerent with traditional U.S. allies. So already, are we seeing a clear divergence with Biden's presidency?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because a lot of Republicans and conservatives, and even some centrists, say Trump did the right thing to withdraw from Afghanistan. But they like the implication being that was like a withdrawal, but it really wasn't. It was simply a decrease in troop count. And I don't like the labeling that. I think Biden's foreign policy is really, number one, is repairing our relationships with allies, and then taking a firm stance against Russia, as we've seen with Ukraine, and our reaffirming of Ukraine's independence and sovereignty. But then number two is actually bringing results in foreign policy, and promising to bring results in foreign policy, like as we see with Afghanistan, something clearly that past presidents have failed on.
Right. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me. It was great to hear your thoughts on this. And where can people reach you, and where can people find the American Exile?
Yeah, you can find the American Exile on Amazon, and my Instagram is obviously Nicholas Tappin _4253. If you want to DM me for any questions or my thoughts or commentary on any political issues right now. So, yeah.
Well, thank you again for joining me. Great to hear your perspective on this. And thank you again for listening to SagePol.